Hello everyone, my name is Atharva Randive. I have secured AIR1 in CMAT 2023 and my general knowledge percentile was 99.97. So in this video I will share with you my strategy for GK. Most of my preparation comes from my UPSC preparation which I had done for 3 years before appearing for CMAT. In this video I have tried to arrange the topics as per their yield, that is, getting the maximum marks per unit of time invested. So let us begin. The first topic is that of awards. Here, the first area is the Indian Nobel Prize winners. There are total 13 of them, which you can search on Wikipedia. After you type in Indian Nobel laureates, what we have to cover is their name, the area in which they have contributed, which could be physics, literature, etc., and the specific work that they have done. Apart from that, you have to study recent Nobel Prize winners and also their work. The next category is Bharat Ratna winners. Apart from that, the current affairs that become important for awards are the Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, and also the important national awards. For example, the Indira Gandhi National Prize. Next topic would be geography. Here, the most important part are the maps. You have to give priority to these three maps. One is India, second is Asia, and third is Europe. Physical maps. I will show you how to study these maps. See, whenever you look at a map, you have to look at all the rivers. For example, if you look at the Ganga, you have to look at all its tributaries. Ghagra, Gandak, Kosi. Then you have to see where, in which direction they are flowing. For example, Ganga would be west to east. And if you go a little bit south, you will observe that Narmada and Tapi are west flowing rivers. So these are the observations that you have to make. The tributaries, where they are flowing, and into which sea they are flowing. Next would be the various mountain ranges. For example, they may ask to arrange the ranges from north to south. So you have to look at all of these ranges. One question that came in my attempt was the intersection of Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. So these are also some points that you have to remember while studying maps. You have to devote at least 5 to 10 minutes daily for studying maps. If you do that, you will really become an expert, and one or two questions could come directly from maps. The next area would be, or the next source would be Introduction to Physical Geography, which is the class 11 NCERT. You can directly read from the NCERTs, but alternatively, I will put a link in the description of my NCERTs, which means the NCERTs from which I have studied, and I have highlighted the important portions. So if there is a time constraint, then you can only go through those highlighted portions. The next important thing is the maps of national parks. I will also put a link in the description where I have prepared a map of all the national parks in India or the major ones, and you can study from there. Next would be government schemes and policies. Here, the most important government schemes and policies are that of business and commerce. Apart from that, you have to go through extremely important or which are continuously in news, or because of certain policies due to which there is a controversy. For example, the farm laws there were protests for that. Then the Agnipath scheme was there. So these were in news continuously. You have to go through there. The least priorities for social welfare schemes, because they are very infrequently asked in the exams, and also they are huge in numbers. And this is one source through which you can study government schemes and policy is this one. Google Vision Prelims Current Affairs. Here there will be PT 365, and here you can see there are government schemes part 1, part 2. You have to do all of them, but I will tell you how to select the schemes for which you have to study. So this is the part 1 2023 government schemes. Here the agriculture part, that is not that relevant. If you look at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, the PLI scheme, Startup India, these become important because they are related to business. Then again, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, that becomes important because there are startup accelerators. Then PLI scheme is again there, and Digital India scheme is there. So that is important. Then Ministry of Finance, a lot of schemes here are very, very important. The Stand Up India scheme, the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, Gold Monetization scheme. Okay, these are the major ones for this PDF. Similarly, you can look the other two also, which is part 2 and government schemes in news. Next would be political science. Here the main source is the Lakshmikant book, which is actually quite huge, but you can read it, you have to read it very, very selectively for CMAT. And these are a few important topics that I have listed. Just go through them for a few seconds. And these are some other useful topics. Okay, if you do not want to read it directly from Lakshmikant, which is quite a bulky book, then you can go through my notes. Again, the link will be in the description. And if any specific topic is not in my notes, for example, maybe the official languages one is not there in my notes, so that you can go to Wikipedia, and from there you can cover those topics. And after you have done studying these topics, the article numbers, they become very important. So what you can do is list down the article numbers of all these topics on a separate sheet of paper, and that you can revise daily for 5 to 10 minutes. For example, from article 14 to article 30, you have the fundamental rights. So each of these topics will have their article numbers, which you have to learn. Next would be economics. The source here is the book called Indian Economy by Vivek Singh. It is very comprehensive book, and it will cover everything in detail, but it also covers it very concisely. So here are few topics which are very important from exam point of view, which is the history of Indian banking and reforms, World Bank, IMF, GDP and its calculation, monetary policy, RBI and its functions. Then second important topic is mergers and acquisitions, which have happened in the corporate sectors for the previous 3 to 4 years. Next would be economic survey and budget summary. You have to read only the summary. Again, you can go to Google and type in economic survey summary, and you will get maybe a PDF of 15 to 20 pages which you have to go through. And if there are finance and business related news which are coming up, you have to be attentive to those, and some amount of curiosity will take you a long way in this topic. For example, if the news comes that RBI has decided to increase its repo rate, so then you can Google what is repo rate and then try to learn a lot. Next are some miscellaneous topics which I covered from CMATking material, which would be literature. This one is very hard to crack because there are a lot of books, and it is like very hard to memorize all of them. And next would be sports. Here the most important would be Olympic medals, more specifically the Indian winners. You have to remember all of them, or if there are some records made by Olympic medal winners. For example, Michael Phelps won 28 medals. So if there are some specific records like this, you have to remember them. Then sports related current affairs are important, and there are some specific terms. For example, there is double fault in tennis. So the questions asked are directly from this topic are: the term double fault is applicable to which sport? So direct questions are asked from this topic that you have to cover. Then current affairs you have to cover for 1 year, but you have to do it very very selectively, and do it only after you have done everything else, because doing current affairs is going to consume a lot of time and it will not give you a lot of yield. Then art and culture. The source here would be Nitin Singhania's book for art and culture, or class 11 NCERT Introduction to Fine Arts. If you are unable to do anything, you have to do dances, which is one of the most recurring topics in CMAT. There are about 8 classical Indian dances that you must do. Then apart from that, Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Bhakti Sufi movement, these are important. Then Indian architecture and handicrafts. Finally, it would be history. Here you can go to YouTube and type in Pratik Nayak Unacademy for ancient and medieval history. He will cover all of it very comprehensively, and you will enjoy it because he explains it like a story. What you can do here is what I did here was, while having lunch or dinner, I would play his videos. So if you are doing it for 3 to 4 months consistently, then you will have covered all the topics probably twice or thrice. And finally, for modern history, you have to cover 8 NCRT. You have to single out all the facts that are there in that textbook. For example, all the important events. For example, Jallianwala Bagh massacre, then it would be Pune Pact or something like individual satyagraha. All these important events you have to cover. Then it would be personalities and their contributions. For example, one of the question that came during my attempt was, who was the first satyagrahi to opt in for the individual satyagraha movement? The answer to that was Acharya Vinoba Bhave. So these are the personalities that you have to remember while studying history. And finally would be chronology. They can ask you to arrange events in a chronological order. For example, Morley Minto reforms, then it would be Gandhi-Irwin Pact. So you have to know the year for all these major events that happen. And similarly, you can give here 5 to 10 minutes daily, prepare a chronology of the major events, and you keep on revising them. That's all. Thank you.